All right, I think we're live. We're live. What's up, guys? Cryvex, I promise I'm real. Hi. How's everyone doing today? I hope well. Martin, good to see you. Rob, thank you for the membership, man. I appreciate it. How's everyone doing? Greg, good to see you. Scottbot, I saw you earlier. Good to see you, man. Dan, how's it going? Oh, man, I am worn out. My oldest kid, he's doing basketball and football at the same time, and it's a lot. Yesterday, we were out at the football field for like 3 hours, then basketball. Then my middle kid, his birthday party after that. So I woke up an hour ago or so. I needed it. Crusher, what's up, buddy? Good to see you. There's a barcode scanner floating behind the ship. Yes, I see it. How you guys liking that? You guys liking the event ship? I've played with it a little bit on my my free to play. I did the video on the build that I decided to put on that. I'm pretty happy with it. It definitely moves terrible, but I guess that's to be expected with something so big like that. Oh, look at that. Server not responding. Hopefully that goes away. Look at that. Look at the timing. I've been logged in since I woke up, and now we're getting booted. Jesus Christ. Specifically the hangar ships. I gotta tell you, I'm not a big fan of the hangar ships on the event ship. Let's relaunch Stowe here. Voyager, how's it going? Yes, it's the morning re-login mini game. Greg, you torture yourself watching us get everything first? Yeah, but we get everything first with all the problems. And then you get everything after that with not as many problems, right? Well, at least that's the way I understand it's supposed to work. All right. Well, what we're going to do today is go over the news. There's quite a bit. We're just going to kind of go high level over that. There's a couple things I want to highlight. We're going to do a giveaway, which will start up here in a few minutes. So that'll be for 100 million EC, and that's 4 PC. Everybody's welcome to join that. So we'll put that live here shortly. Then we're going to do a little bit of discussion, which is a topic that I've been wanting to kind of go over for a while, but with the anniversary events and everything that's been going on, I just really haven't been able to fit it in. So we'll get to that, and then we'll pull the giveaway, and that'll do it. Once I get done with this, I'm actually not starving today. We'll see how that changes going through the stream. I've been trying to do a like, I don't know, intermittent fasting where I don't eat until like noon, and then I can eat whatever I want until like 6 o'clock. I'm sticking to it pretty good, but it kind of sucks, and I love food, so we won't start going down that rabbit hole right now. We'll do that, and then what else do I have going on today? Oh, apparently it's a Pokemon Go community day or something like that. I don't know, but I have all 3 kids lined up ready to roll, and we're going to drive around and hunt Pokemon, so that sounds like a ton of fun. Anyone else play the Pokemon? I'll be honest, I have the app, because if I'm going to sit in the truck while they're doing it, then I'll catch some stuff, but I have no idea what's going on. Most of the time I'm handing my phone to my kids. EPG is the best. It definitely can be the best. You play Pokemon competitively? Okay. It does suck. Yeah, bread's the worst, man. And it's like everything I want to eat has it. and that's the problem. So I tried to find something that was I could still kind of eat whatever I want. So, you know, I don't go crazy in between those times. I don't eat like all donuts or whatever. So I still try and eat somewhat healthy, but doing the intermittent fasting, it's a little more flexible in what you eat, because that's the biggest problem. Like I've done that before where it's like I'm cutting, you know, as much bread out as possible and different things like that, and I'm just dying. Pokemon Go is so much fun. I don't know, man. We go like there's a gym up at the front of our neighborhood, and so like I'll take one of my kids, we'll go up there, I'll try and help him do the raid, and all my Pokemon suck, you know. And so you're just tapping on the screen, and like right away I can tell we're not beating this. So we got to drive back to the house, pick up the other two kids, go back up, you know, and then we fail again, and then we go back to the house, pick up mom because she plays and she has some pretty good Pokemon, and then we can normally do it. But I don't know why I can't just get everybody in the truck to start with to go up to the front instead of, you know, the 3 attempts. So that's kind of the bummer. Anyways, though, enough about the Pokemon. I'm gonna get plenty of that here in about an hour or so. All right, we are logged back in. So let's go ahead and take a look at the news. Once we get through the news, we will we'll start the giveaway, and then we'll jump into the discussion. To turn off my sound. And Dari the Dragon, I am having a great day. Thank you. Stucca, how's it going? All right, let's jump into it here. So I'll apologize up front. It's not my fault, but the new website sucks. There's a bunch of stuff broken on it. So it's really kind of hard to move through. CasualSAB did a video on this, and on the old site that they reverted it, but maybe I'm missing something here. If I go to the old site, you know, and if I go to like to the home page, whatever, I don't see a way to get to the blogs. I don't see it at the bottom. I know that if you have a link to one of the blogs that you can, they still exist, but there's not a way to just easily navigate to it. So it's kind of a bummer, but anyways. All right, so one of the main things I wanted to highlight is the Klingon recruitment event. So I did a whole video on this, speaking specifically, you know, to the newer players, or if you're an older player and you haven't enrolled one, to make sure that you take advantage of this. Because it does give a free tier 6 ship that has a very good trait on it for cannon scatter volley. So you can save yourself some money by rolling that. If you haven't ever played through the Klingon arc, it's actually really, really good. And it's even better since they've revamped it. You don't have to play through the whole thing either. So unlocking the ship and some of the other goodies in it, you don't have to do a lot to do that. So it's kind of nice if you just want the ship and you want the trait. You do need to level a Klingon character all the way to 65 if you want to unlock the ability to fly Klingon ships on the Fed side, or vice versa. You can also buy that out in the C store. But if you haven't done it and you haven't played through it, and you know, obviously if you're free to play, then I would definitely just level up a Klingon, play through the story. It's great. If you just, you know, if you're not interested, you can power level it as well. So there's other ways to go about doing that and getting through it pretty quick. So make sure you guys take advantage of that. I did misspeak I misspoke because I was on the wrong blog post for the event. The event goes until the 9th. I had said that it went until I think the 14th or 16th, and that's because I was on the console blog post page. So if you haven't done it, you still have, you know, plenty of time. You got another, this is a short month, so you got another 11 days. So make sure that that you take care of that. Magla, what's up, dude? You being good? I was looking for one of your alt accounts. Talking about the box Chevys. All right, so that's Klingon Recruit. I'll probably do a follow-up video, or I was maybe thinking about just doing some shorts just for some quality of life things. So in the video, I went through, why you should roll it, the benefits, those kinds of things. But I realized I got some questions after from some newer players about, well, how do you reclaim the items? So there's different NPCs at different social zones depending on your faction, where you can reclaim the rewards that you get across the account. And this is true for all of your recruits. So I'll probably just put together I'll probably just do shorts because it's pretty quick. So, if that's something you're looking or searching for, you'll be able to find it, get the answer real quick to that. All right, so here's the bummer on this website. So when you go back, it starts you at the top and you have to click back into it, and you also cannot sort. So the sorting function on this is not working, and it really, really sucks. So I'm not gonna go through like the in-depth patch notes or any of those kinds of things. I just want to kind of call attention to some of the stuff that's happening. The bundle. Click into this here. So how long does this? So this goes to the. Let me make sure I'm in the. God, it's so annoying. That is for PC. Okay. The bundle is still live, and I wanted to talk about that a little bit more as well. I picked up the Hydra, and I'm going to pick up the Eagle with the Tier 6 coupons that I had purchased that went on sale at the end of, I think it was the end of last year, was it? Or was it the beginning of the year? I can't remember. You can still access the old news on the website. Okay, Voyager, if you don't mind, send me a DM of how to get to that easily, just like through the... through the home page. I haven't been able to figure that out. I can work around it and find some backlinks from like the wiki and stuff. So I picked up these two. I think the overall bundle is a good deal. If we look at like some of the polling that I did, and I just want to kind of talk about this a little more in depth because it's kind of unique, I guess, to this game. And I guess let me start with, is it just me, or is this game really expensive compared to pretty much everything else? Is there other MMOs that are expensive like this to, get the things that you want? I know that, there's a lot of free stuff. There's, events and those kinds of things. But if you're somebody new that comes in and, you don't have a lot of money to spend on games, you're playing a free-to-play game, you're not getting what you want until years later, right? Where you either build up the resources, do the events, and those kinds of things. So the game itself is pricey if you want, the things that you want. You want to fly a particular ship. EVE Online's pretty expensive. Big Pop Tart, what's up, man? Good to see you. So there is, it's kind of unique on both ends because there is an avenue through the Dill Exchange, which we're going to talk about here in just a little bit. The events, there's a lot of free ships, but if you're somebody, say, that's chasing the meta, you're spending hundreds of dollars, or you're grinding for years. Or if you want to fly a particular hero ship that's a tier 6, you're grinding for years, or you're spending a lot of money, right? So the extremes are there where you can get everything in the game for free. It just takes a long time, and I'm finding these days, I've played for a long time already, and I put in a lot of grind, over the years, and I don't want to say I regret that, but to a certain degree, like I could have spent some money and spent more time, with my kids or doing other things, right? Everyone's situation's a little bit different, but the reason I bring that up is because when I put up some of these polls, I was a little bit surprised. And let's just scroll up here where we were looking at, do you think the 13th anniversary bundle is a good deal? And I realize these questions are pretty subjective because I'm looking at it from the standpoint of not is it expensive, but is it comparatively speaking a good deal, right? So for you to buy, all the ships individually, to get, the promo ship as well as, the lockbox ship, you're looking at like $800. And so on sale for 130 something, in my mind, that was a really good value, relatively speaking, to what it would normally cost, right? And maybe, the way I was thinking about that, was flawed because it's kind of like a sale, right? If something's, 75% off, but it's still $2,000. Does that make it a good deal? If it was normally, $10,000 or something like that? Not really. And so I think the way that I was looking at this is really from the standpoint of somebody that does, spend money on the game, or looking at, other people that spend a lot of money in the game that, this is a really good deal for what you're getting out of it. And I think that's still true, if you're an STO player, but I'm getting comments from people that, I can buy 3-4 games that are good, for that amount. And so that really made me think about more, just how pricey this free to play game really is. So anyways, I just wanted to kind of share that and get your guys' thoughts on it. It's, it's not like mind-blowing or anything like that, but it is interesting because there's a lot of people that only play this game, and this was the first MMO that I played. I've played a few others now since then, SOTOR, Elder Scrolls, and they're nowhere near as expensive. Now you can spend tons of money on it, but you don't have to in order to get topping gear and all the stuff that you want. That's all earnable through the game, right? So the model of progression and gearing in STO, I think specifically, is what is expensive, right? So I don't know, guys. That was just something I just kind of been thinking about and just wanted to kind of share my thoughts or think out loud with you. It's a good deal, but $131 is still a lot of money, right? I mean, I can buy a lot of stuff for that. I didn't buy it even though it was a good deal, in my mind. Now I do have the sticks already on my main. I've started kind of consolidating on my free-to-play and on my main. So anything that I get that's new, that's a lockbox or whatever, it's all going on my main. My main is going to play all the roles. I'm not going to spread that across a bunch of different characters. It is worthwhile having multiple characters for resource and, building up through the game. So I don't want to discourage you from doing that, but I definitely would maybe prioritize, a tune that all the real nice, expensive, non-account unlock stuff goes on. It's more about why I named it Chattanooga. I think that was randomly generated. I definitely can't spell that, and that wouldn't have been top of mind for me. So that was definitely randomly generated. I've opened 5 premium ships on Tribble with less than 100 keys. So is it easier than that on live? I don't think so. There's a lot of testing that happens on Tribble. And so normally, like when they'll CasualSAB and some of the other guys, they'll go and do 1,000 key box openings, and that's generally where they pull the stats from. So I mean, if you got 5 premium ships on Tribble, I don't think that is special to Tribble. The drop rates are, for you, I mean, that's crazy good. Like I would probably, you could say, well, I'd go buy a lottery ticket or open it on live, but me, I'm more pessimistic, right? Like there's all your luck. Normally you're looking at about 200, 250 keys on the average in order to get a lockbox ship on the live server. And I think that's true for Tribble as well. Ready for a Deal X backlog? I hope not, Spencer. We're going to be talking about that here in a minute. We're going to review one of your videos, actually. Spencer, the drop rates on Tribble, they're basically the same as live, right? When it comes to opening boxes. My issue is that there is no real in-game content, so why continue spending the money? Excuse me. Yeah, so that's one of the biggest problems, I think, with the game for long-term players. And so players have gone through and kind of created their own end game with the parse tables and things like that. If the game was bigger and the community was larger with more resources, I'd like to see like seasons put together and maybe, different kinds of events that are put in outside of the game, that is, like with the DPS tables and stuff, where this quarter, people are competing for the best EPG runs, right? Or this next quarter, cannon scatter volley, or, just kind of mix that up and wipe them. So you're continually having to rebuild, rethink the process. Because I think for me, and I think, this might be true as well for Spencer, Nick, Rob, some of the, the guys that I run with, is that sometimes it starts to get a little bit stale, because we're running torpedo runs, for the last 2 years straight, because that puts out the highest DPS, and that's all we're going for is the highest DPS. And so I would like to see, some kind of a season kind of thing put together. I could say that, and I guess I could take some action and, contact some of the people that run these tables and see if that's something we could put together. But if I'm being honest, I don't have the time to do that. And that's really kind of the issue, is that the game is smaller and the community on that end is not as big. But I think if we did that kind of thing, that would also draw in more people, you know, to work towards, you know, some of those things. And it always doesn't have to be that meta high end, right? You could pick things that are not, you know, like torpedo or kinetic builds, to be able to compete and do the best you can and come up with, you know, different kinds of combinations for your ships and those kinds of things. I think that'd be pretty cool. Spencer, yes, you had the same drops. Okay. Only the Phoenix are different on Tribble. And if I'm remembering right, the Phoenix boxes drop rates, if we're looking at like getting epics, are even worse than the lock boxes. It's pretty bad. Martin seems to have pretty good luck. All right, let's go back to the news and make sure we're not missing anything. I am kind of skipping over stuff because I'm just trying to kind of hit what's important. Let's talk about the. We'll do this here so I don't have to look through the blogs. Where's it at here? So the event campaign has started. That's on the featured here. I'm almost done with the featured event. Once I get done, I'll continue doing that so we can keep pushing towards that. And then I thought they extended out the anniversary event, or is that already done? So they're having some problems with the Omega collection stuff. They only extended the Omega event. Okay. Interesting. So you actually have to go to queue then, I see. Well, I hope everyone took advantage of that, because the ship, there's one sitting here behind me, 2 of them. They're pretty decent. Like I said before, I'm not a huge fan of the way that they look, but that's I'm in the minority on that. Most people do really like it. And the seating, performance on it and stuff, it's pretty decent. It flies terrible, but again, because it's so massive, it's just kind of the way it is. General Washington, what's up, buddy? Just Omega event. So you can run the Omega event, get the particles and the stuff for making the upgrades. You can get the rewards like the party horn or whatever, but the Omega event's not counting towards the event, the anniversary event anymore, because that is ended. It's kind of weird because I thought those two things were kind of connected. For me, it looks like a barcode scanner. Yeah, no, I'm seeing that now. They did a really good job on it. I mean, the detail and, you know, the little effects and stuff. And I like how the effects change color as well, depending on your vanity shield. So they did a really good job. It's just not, yeah, I really like, there's some alien ships that I really like as well, but I like the, you know, the clean Federation look on stuff. That's just my personal preference. All right, let me make sure there was nothing else that I wanted to talk about. I generally don't cover the sales. We do have an upgrade weekend going. This is going to end tomorrow. So if you weren't aware and there's stuff you needed to upgrade, get on that. God, I hate this website. It's so bright as well. The Klingon sale, I believe that is over. So the main thing that I would recommend making sure you focus on, especially if you're new, is getting yourself a Klingon recruit. And you know, make sure that you go just play the tutorial. It's only like 20-30 minutes long, and make sure you get your device that makes you a recruit. You can come back to it later, but make sure you grab that. They do run it once a year, but you'll have to wait again until next year. Spencer, I know the site's back up, but I can't find my way to the blog. Maybe I'm a moron, which is probably it. I know, like, if I go to like one of the wiki pages or whatever, the backlinks work, like they're there. I just don't see a way to navigate to it easily. Thank you, General Washington. Yeah, so there it is here. And I've been able to find my way back to this. But from here, can you do that? Everwind, yeah, that's exactly right. Because like in Elder Scrolls or WoW, you know, there's this huge progression at the end of game where, you know, there's just so much to do and work towards and build towards in terms of, you know, doing, you know, raids, harder raids, complicated raids, PvP, those kinds of things. STO does have PvP. It's a fairly vibrant community. I find most STO players at large don't really like PvP in general, so I understand that. But it is a pretty good, robust system. You know, I've played with it a little bit. I'm not good, but it's like the rest. Brett's gaming channel, he has quite a bit of information. The whole thing's all about PvP, and he's got some like free-to-play builds and stuff. But you still run into that pay-to-win aspect there, and you can be just really good. Like Brett's a guy that could probably beat most people with a free-to-play build, but you know, he's kind of an outlier with that, right? And so in terms of pay-to-win, that's definitely a real thing in PvP in STO. Yeah, so if I click the banner, let's just play with this for a second here. Maybe I'll learn something. So, and then all of these are just like pictures. These I can't click on. Gives me the details. Play now. Yeah, I mean, I've been all through this, and unless I'm just missing something, I don't know. What would I say about making dual cannons 90 degrees instead of 45? That would make them kind of middle ground. I mean, there are wide arc dual heavies that you can get, but you can only slot one. The issue is that cannons are probably one of the most powerful, you know, platforms that you can use in the game, and so the balancing is that you have to be able to pilot in a way that, you know, it's restrictive, obviously, at the 90 degrees, but so that's the way they balance it. So if they widen that, then they become even more powerful, and I think you start running into balancing issues. But they do, you can get wide arc dual heavy cannons, but you can only put one at a time on your ship. Aminani OP, I think I'm saying that wrong. You're 100% right. This game is built for Star Trek fans that want to fly the ships, have fun, build, you know, that kind of thing. It is not designed for, you know, an in-game kind of play. Taryn, yeah, you're not wrong. There are definitely some balance issues, but I think, you know, I think as a whole, it's not bad. There are some things that are definitely way out of balance. Generally, new consoles that come out almost every time, which they do eventually fix. But I think, you know, as a whole, most of the main firing modes and builds are fairly on par. Some, I think, lean themselves towards, you know, particular roles. So I think that's one of kind of, you know, the main things. They're not all supposed to be exactly equal, but, you know, some of them have different jobs. Don't forget the mail. Okay, Martin, I'm always afraid to open it on stream because I never know what it's going to say. Let's see. Jesus, dude. You spoil us. All right. Well, we will do a giveaway for the Liberated Borg Command Juggernaut. Martin, do you want me to give that away live, or do you want me to give that away in Discord? Dan, yeah, I think the vanity shields changed that. So we got the yellow on that one. Is this the? I think that's the stock. I wonder what the Section 31. That probably makes it blue. Discord. Okay, perfect. As soon as the stream's over, I'll go ahead and put the Borg Juggernaut up live in Discord. If you're not a part of the Discord server, there's a link down in the description. Everybody's welcome. And I'll just show you kind of where that is. I try to make it as fairly straightforward as possible. Oh, we shouldn't have landed on this page. Can we talk about Caleth and his cooking? Not only does it look delicious, it's always just so nicely presented. All right, we should stop looking at that. All right, so if you come to the Discord server and you click on the giveaways, it will look like this here. So we just gave one away, courtesy of Martin. Again, thank you very much. We all really appreciate you and your generosity. There'll be a button here that you'll click to enter the giveaway. If the game was pay to win and pay was limited to vanity, then PvP and raids would be more popular. Yeah, I agree with you, Everwind. That is really kind of the issue. If this game was more competitive, then we would have a big problem with that, because you really do need to have high dollar stuff. I mean, right now, like for instance, and there's some gear that you can kind of use on everything, right? So on most all builds that I'm running, I'm using the phaser lance. I'm using the universal designs. Both of those are lockbox ship traits. This is a lockbox ship trait. This is that a lockbox or promo? I can't remember. This here is lockbox. I mean, it's expensive, you know, and I mean, this isn't like the highest end build out there either. I mean, it is pretty damn good, but I mean, if you were to just whale this and you wanted it within a couple months, you leveled a character, you'd have to spend thousands of dollars in order to put together a build just like this, which is crazy. See, thank you. I appreciate it, man. Rob, are we talking about food? I'm talking about food. I'm not hungry yet. I shouldn't even have pulled up that page. So, I know we kind of got off all over the place here down the rabbit hole with the cost and stuff, but it's something I'm constantly thinking about, because I've kind of evolved through that. Like when I first started playing, I try and earn as much as I possibly could for free. That was like my end game, was getting like all the stuff without having to spend money, you know. And then I got to a point where I was like, well, some of this stuff, like back before the account bank was just given to everybody, it's like that was 10-15 bucks. You know, I work a full-time plus job. It would be better for me to just buy that for the 10 or 15 bucks than spend hours and hours and hours and hours, you know, grinding out Dilithium in order to exchange for Zen, right? So I've kind of evolved in how I've kind of thought about it. So, but what I found myself is that there's kind of two extremes. It's like crazy expensive, but then you can still also get it all for free, which is unique, you know, for an MMO to do that. Love the new Trailblazer. It is. It's a really, really good ship from last year's bundle. I will be doing a updated best of C-Store ships here probably in the next week or so. We've had some really good additions over the past year or two. I think it's been about 1.5 years since I've done one, and we'll definitely be updating that list. All right, you know what? Screw the rest of the news. I think we covered everything we needed to talk about. If there's anything in particular you guys have questions on news-wise or want to discuss, let me know. I'm going to go ahead and get the giveaway running. I'm going to get a refill on my water, and then we're going to do the plan discussion here, which will be reviewing one of Spencer's videos, actually, and just doing a little bit of a talk about that. So let me get the giveaway going for, this is going to be for the EC, so this is for PC for 100 million EC. Everybody is welcome to join, 1 entrance per, and let's make sure that is correct. Okay, and that is live. So it's exclamation point raffle to enter on that. So go ahead and get in on that, guys. For this, if number one, you need to be here and say something when we pull the winner. And then you'll need to let me know when you say something. Just let me know, hey, I have Discord, or I'm in your server, or if not, Twitter is another way that we can communicate, because I'll need to verify you are who you say you are in game, and then we'll meet up in game and I'll give you the EC. So just bear that in mind. Make sure that you're here, and make sure you have a response for, you know, if you're in, if you have or use Discord, because what I'll have you do is just DM me we'll do the verification, and then we'll get met up, or we'll meet up in order to get you the EC there. So let me go ahead and get a quick refill, and then I'll be back and we'll jump into the discussion portion. Be right back with you guys. All right. Excuse me, I should have cleared my throat before I turned the mic back on. Sorry for the delay there. I had to check with my wife. How's the stream look? We having any problems stuttering? My wife is, she's live on TikTok right now, so I made some adjustments on my end to make sure we had enough bandwidth on paper, but hopefully that is that's working out okay. No stream issues? Awesome, thank you. All right, let me turn this down a little bit. So I wanted to talk about the DIL exchange and also the botting issues that Spencer had brought to light. I think that was what, the very beginning of the year. And since he did that, we've seen a huge reduction in impact on the DIL exchange. And so I'd like to talk about that a little bit. When am I going to update my Fiverr line? I wish. I looked at getting a Fiverr line, Rob. They wanted to amortize, I think, $3,000 to run one back from the street over 3 years, which wasn't bad, but I don't think I'm going to live here for that much longer. So in the future, that will definitely be on the maybe list. sorry, a little squirrel moment there. The DIL exchange, and let's just look at that real quick, is if you're new, we'll just talk about what it is real quick here. So if you go to your assets tab and you click on exchange, this is where you're able to grind out, so you can grind out dilithium in the game, right? You're aware of what that is. Dilithium can be exchanged for Zen. Okay, we're almost under 3 million EC backlog. So this is the amount of dilithium in EC worth that's available to purchase. So the larger this number is, the more dilithium that is there. The maximum exchange rate is 500, so it can't go any higher than that. So that means basically you'll get one Zen for 500 dilithium. Okay, so there's a lot of talk about it being broken. It wasn't broken, it just was in a bad place in terms of this backlog was so high. I think it was over 11 million. And so what that meant is that if you were to put dilithium up for Zen, so you're trading your dilithium in for Zen, you were waiting months, if not more. And so that was a big problem. And this is one of the main ways that, free-to-play players will get what they want. So, if you trade in enough dilithium, you can get enough Zen, and you can buy stuff out of the Z store. And you basically can buy anything in the game except for the lifetime subscription, because that is not actually listed in the Z store. You have to buy that on the website. So this has been a big complaint over the last couple of years, and this is dramatically going down here. I don't know what the times are going to look like now based off of this, but I'm guessing maybe a week or two, which isn't bad at all. It'd be nice if it was instant, right? But ever since I've started playing, even before it was at this max level, it was never exactly instant, but it was pretty quick, day or so maybe. So this number here, while it's still high, is 4 times lower almost than where it had been sitting at for the last couple of years. And so that created a lot of problems for people that were wanting to play for free, grind out the dilithium, and be able to get Zen for basically just their time and playing the game. So let's pull up. I'm just going to play a couple snippets from Spencer's video here. All right, so let's start here. So this is a graph of where the exchange has been, so what the backlog has looked like. So historically, or at least going back to the beginning of 2022, it was still fairly high at the 4 million. It looks like we're going to start seeing it under the 2. I'm not sure what happened here, if this was one of the vanity, shield for dilithium that they did. So they've been trying, Cryptic has been trying to put in sinks. I don't think they've been trying very hard to fix this. So they'll put in some sinks. They've added some things to the fleet, but we really haven't seen any kind of impact. So, I mean, this went up to just under 12 million. And when we see, and Spencer hasn't said it, but I'm going to say it. So since Spencer's videos have come out highlighting this and exposing some of these things, and he's reported some of these people that he was able to find, we've seen this just dramatic reduction that's just continuing to go down and down and down. Even through an event like this where, a lot of people would be wanting to buy Zen and things like that, and because of the events and the new ships and those kinds of things. So I think we need to give Spencer credit for that. I think bringing light to this and, reporting these people that are doing this. There was somebody that was botting basically Starbase 1, made a mistake, didn't hide themselves, and so it was very obvious that, there's hundreds of instances of Starbase 1 running. Which didn't make any sense. While it is a popular queue, if you compared it to everything else, it was just astronomical. And then the names were, I'm just going to make it up, bot 1, bot 2, bot 3. It was that kind of a naming structure. So it was clear what was happening. He reported it, made a video on it. They addressed it. Most of it anyways. Kale had responded to some of it on a 10 Forward live stream, kind of dismissing this a little bit, which I think, I don't think he had any idea what he was talking about. And just kind of dismissed, that, well, there's some other things also going on. And maybe that's true. But I haven't heard from them any other actions that they've taken in terms of trying to fix the DIL exchange with, changing some of these TFOs or, going after bots. Some of that they may not, publicly say. But as far as I can tell, over the past 6 months or a year, they really haven't done anything other than some adjustments to, the Phoenix boxes and some expansions on the fleet. And also every now and then you'll get those dill syncs for vanity shields and things like that. I don't think any of that had anything to do with what we're seeing here. So let's just give part of this here a listen.
The game for the next couple of weeks. So at the end of January, the Dill-X had dropped all the way down to 7 million dilithium, or 7 million Zen worth of dilithium in the backlog. A week later, it was already down to under 6 million. And just yesterday on...
So now we're seeing it almost another million down. And this is just from, what, a day ago? So we're seeing this thing just crash, which is really, really good. It's good for the game. I've stopped farming and doing this for my free-to-play because it just was taking too long, and I'm patient, but I don't want to wait 2-3 months. And this has been something that the community has really, really been, I don't want to say complaining because it's legitimate, but, been voicing their dislike with what's going on with this. And I think it's kind of ridiculous that this is what it's taken to fix it. I don't think that Cryptic was really interested in fixing it. I don't think it works to their benefit in any way to fix it. So I think they've given it some lip service. They've done some things around the edges that they can claim helped or, were an attempt to help, but the fleet expansion, I mean, that's content, expand. They didn't make that expansion just to fix the deal exchange, right? So that was just something that can be said, well, this will have some impact on it. And I think it might, but not at the level that we're seeing here over the last 2 months. I mean, it's just, it's insane the amount that this has come down since then. So let's talk about a little bit of kind of what the botting things look like, right? So there's a couple different ways that they go about doing it that I'm aware of, and there's probably more. So what'll happen is there's certain TFOs that you can run private and you can AFK them and they'll still give you, the full dilithium rewards. So what'll happen is people will create multiple accounts. They'll create, multiple characters within those accounts, and then they use, bot programs to basically just put them in, they AFK, they leave, it collects it, rinse and repeat. Some of these don't even have cooldowns. So they really need to fix some of that. And I don't understand why that didn't get like patch updated, the next day after this came to light, because that's something that could really fix that. Now, some of the thoughts as to why they don't fix some of it is that creating a bot farm is also expensive, right? So if Admiralty is another way that you can do it, there's, you need all the character slots, you need ships, you need these things, right? And so for Cryptic, if somebody is creating multiple accounts that are going to be bot farm accounts, they're buying out like the entire C store, duty officer slots, the character slots, tons and tons of ships, all these kinds of things. We're talking thousands of dollars, per account, which makes their metrics look really good. And it also makes it look like when certain things are happening, at least when they're AFKing or doing TFOs, that makes the metrics look good as well, because they have all these different instances spun up. So when you just look on paper, these things all look like positive things. There's large purchases happening. There's lots of activity happening in the game. The problem is that it's not real. I mean, the money's real, they paid, but it's happening at the expense of everybody else that wants to be able to use the Dill exchange. And, when this bot farm came to light for Starbase 1, it also made me think about that server performance we have. If you have hundreds of extra instances of maps running that are not legit, right? They're just AFK bots. What does that do to the servers? That lag, getting disconnected, all those kinds of things. And so I understand like the side from the company saying, well, we just kind of turn a blind eye because it's not really hurting our bottom line. And, but it hurts the overall experience. And I'm a little frustrated with, the response to that. Which has been next to nothing from what I've seen. And again, I don't work there. Maybe they're doing things on the back end that's having an effect on this as well, but I haven't seen any evidence of that. And what I really don't like is the attitude that we get from, the community manager in some instances where it's just like, you guys don't really know what you're talking about. That's not really all of it. And it's very condescending where, you could just be like, hey, you know what? thanks for bringing that up. We're going to look into this. We're going to get this thing figured out. And I don't know, I can't read their minds or hearts, why that is the way that it is. Is it a metric thing? Is there just some sort of slight disdain to long-term player base? I mean, the game really focuses on bringing in new people to have the Star Trek experience, and then eventually they move on to other games. Us players that play the game for long periods of time, we're actually rare. Most of you guys, we have new players here and we have very long-term players here. There's some people that come back and forth here and there, but this game is really kind of geared around that new player and just kind of returning players for, new content and those kinds of things. And so I think that the long-term players, where we want this game to do well, we want it to perform well, we don't want these kinds of problems, and we're constantly talking to them about it. I think it builds up some resentment within some of the people, at least the customer side facing, towards us. That's not, it's not founded in a place that I think is good. I don't know that it's, maybe it's just human nature. You're constantly just getting all of that all the time, and so you just kind of naturally build up that kind of built-in response. So yeah, I've dealt with Kel personally, multiple times. He's a really nice guy. He's always been nice to me, respectful. He's a good dude, and so it's not a knock on him personally. I think a lot of it is really just kind of the culture and structure of whatever's going on at Cryptic Studios. So I bookmarked this part. I can't remember exactly what Spencer says in it here. Let's just listen to it for a moment. We'll move the conversation along here, and then we'll talk about this a little bit.
Which leads us into the big topic here, and that is that the real issue for the Dilithium economy, specifically on PC, is bots. I've said on numerous occasions that I believe bots have had a large impact on the in-game economy. We've seen in the past that there were bots for things even like the Omega minigame, and botting the Omega minigame became so common that Cryptic had to change the Omega components to make them all bind on pickup, which completely killed that Omega market and made it worthless for people to bot. Now, most bot farms are...
So it made it worthless to bot, so they did solve that issue, but in doing that, they made it to where I'm never going to use that again. Because it was really nice. The Omega event, you could get these resources where you could create really good upgrades. This is before the Phoenix boxes were always available. I think that's probably one of the problems historically, is they should have just left Phoenix events as just Phoenix events instead of always available. Because I would save up tons of Dilithium when the event would start, then I would blow all of it on Phoenix boxes. Now that it's always available, you're able to just, you've gotten everything that you need out of it, except obviously for the elusive epic tokens, that is. But so with the Omega event, you used to be able to farm out of that, these upgrade pieces. You could combine them and make really good upgrades out of them that you could, take Mark II weapons either crafted or out of boxes and be able to get them up to epic real easy. It was nice. If I didn't have all of them, I could go buy them off the exchange and those kinds of things. So it always... a lot of these fixes always end up happening at, the legitimate player's expense, right? So I don't use them anymore because I didn't sit there and farm those like crazy, because it's boring after a certain amount of time, right? So I would do a little bit, but then I would go to the exchange, I'd buy the pieces, put them together, make weapons, sell them, use them, whatever. But because they bound all of those to character, so bots couldn't get them and sell them and, farm out the EC and those kinds of things, well, neither can we. I don't know, and again, I'm not a programmer, I don't work there, but I know most other games that I have, there's anti-cheat, software that you have to install and use with the games, but STO doesn't have anything like that, and I'm not sure why. I don't know if that would take care of a lot of these problems or not, but I'd really like to see solutions happening that aren't at the player's expense, right? Because a lot of times I'll see, in the 10 Forward streams where I see people asking for things, and I'm thinking in the back of my mind, you better hope they don't fix that, because if they do fix that, the fix is going to be worse than whatever it is that you were having a problem with. And that's a big issue for me. And it really comes down to, they have the Star Trek IP, so you don't have anywhere to go, right? So there's no competition. And so I think what it is on a company level is, well, we can kind of do whatever we want. And I'm not saying they're just saying screw us, but I don't think there's the proper kind of effort being put into balancing the fixes against, botting or whatever it is, and how the players, respond to that, because I think the overall is that, well, you can't go anywhere else for Star Trek, and the only reason someone would really be here is for Star Trek, or if you just really like the shipbuilding, right? Because those are the two really unique things about this game. The shipbuilding is crazy good. The space combat is excellent. And it's Star Trek, right? So I mean, that's what the game has going, and you can't get that anywhere else. So again, I'm just speculating. I don't know any of these things. I'm not making accusations, but there's never any kind of real clear communication on this kind of thing at all. So that's really all we're left with, is to speculate. So I mean, it is what it is there. So let's go ahead through just the rest of the items they had listed here.
Really difficult to detect. You know, all a person has to do is go and make their character hidden, and players like us can't go through and see them. However, one botter did recently slip up and exposed a very large bot farm that they were running, which gave us the ability to track it and just see how large it was of an operation. And this bot farm consisted of hundreds of accounts with thousands of characters. And the last note here is that
fault.
the bots being the primary issue explains why this is a PC-only issue. You can't run automation software on a console without really being detected, nor can you run.
And that's an excellent point, because when the first video that Spencer put out exposing this came out, the immediate following live stream, there was immediately lots of questions right away to Kale about this, and his response basically is, we saw that, we're looking into it, but I think some of his assumptions are wrong, and basically kind of deflecting that, you know, botting was as big of an issue. But that was easy to see that wasn't true right away, because if you compare the economies from the console in the DIL exchange on the console platforms to the PC, it was night and day difference. I mean, they're not even at, forget about a backlog, they're not even at a max 500 for the exchange rate. And the difference between the two is that you can't bot on console. And I think at this point, you know, with, you know, if you look at the graph that Spencer had showed here, I think it's pretty damn clear that's exactly what the problem was. So again, I think that if you're not following Spencer, go to his channel and give him a sub and comment on his videos thanking him, because I think he's single-handedly responsible for fixing this issue, at least so far. You know, now it could always get worse again somehow, some new way that they bot or other problems, but I think that, you know, the problem was that. And he has some interviews with some of these guys that were actually doing the bot farming, and what we're seeing is that there's a lot of them that are just, this one, I mean, he lost a lot, right? So he's done. There's others that have, you know, said, you know, we're just done here. It's not worth the time. The stuff's starting to get exposed, and so I think it's kind of a snowball effect that we're seeing. The other part of this too is that with the current event happening, Starbase 1, at least in terms of botting Starbase 1 on Elite, is not available anymore because the event's going. There is there's no Elite version of that, so it wouldn't be worthwhile to do it on the normal mode. But this all started, you know, last month, prior to that event, that we've seen this downward trend. And so I think with that event going where Starbase 1 Elite is not available, that continues to help kind of push this. And I think that, you know, we all need to still be watching this stuff and bringing it up in streams, you know, to Kale and STO, and make sure that, hey guys, because I would like to ask them, hey, there's been a dramatic reduction here. Do you guys have any explanation for why this is happening? Because maybe there's stuff we don't know that they're doing on the back end. Maybe they're going through and booting a lot of these bot accounts and finding them and really doing that work. If that's the case, they should scream that from the rooftop, because we'd all cheer for them. That'd be an excellent opportunity for them to build, you know, more, you know, positive, you know, trust from the community. If they're doing that, they should be telling us, you know, for their benefit. Take credit for that if that's what's happening. I don't know if that's what's happening right now based on the information that we have. What's happening is it was exposed, and a lot of these people are basically just checking out. So, and again, that's due to the work that Spencer CasualSAB did. So make sure that you guys are giving him lots of love, because that's huge. I think that with all the, the monetary issues and things like that in the game, the deal exchange is that one thing that really balances that out, right? And so having a healthy deal exchange where people can come in and just enjoy the game, play the game, put time into it, and be able to get, real life, return, not having to spend real money, by being able to exchange those things, I think is huge and healthy, for the game. I mean, if it gets much lower, I'll start using it again on my free to play. I've been working that account for quite a while, so I'm building up a good amount of resources as is. But it would be nice if, new ships coming out and I could grind, for a couple months to save up the dildo and buy other things and trade that in and pick up a new ship or something like that. There's a lot of just, players that would really like to do that, and that really hasn't been possible over the past 2 years. So this effect and what we're seeing here is excellent, excellent, excellent. And I wanted to make sure that I highlighted this and also make sure that we gave CasualSAB credit for this, because I think it really is due to the work that he did on it. So hopefully he does some more follow-ups on this. I really like the graphs and the charts. He's real good with the detail-oriented stuff like this. And this kind of information, number one, it's entertaining. I like it. But it's also, it's a real effect on the game that we all deal with one way or another. Because even if you're someone that's like, well, I never use that, it affects the exchange. It affects everything in the game in terms of the economy. So it really does have an impact across, the entire, economics of the game itself. It's not just isolated and limited to, just the deal exchange. And if you're a free to play player, switching out your Dilithium for Zen. Martin, before I started spending money in the game with the Dilex at 99k per Zen. Wow. I'd buy a ship tier 1, tier 4. That's crazy. I never played at a time where it was that low. Big community's healthy for everybody. It is. It really is. And with an MMO, the part that I don't understand, and this will kind of go off subject a little bit, but is why they don't do drops and do different things like that. Because an MMO needs to feel vibrant, right? I don't know if anyone logged into New World before the expansion they just released. I went into a server and it was empty. And I just logged out because it didn't feel good. You know what I'm saying? There is a value that's not directly... You can't tie it directly to a dollar amount, but there's a real value for having people just in the game, even if they're not spending money, right? Because the people that are spending money and the rest of us, we want to feel like it's full. I don't like going into an instance and there's only 2 ships in there, unless I'm trying to record a video or something like that, right? And the more that people are in game, the more they are likely to spend some money, be it on services or a ship or something like that. I'd really like to see them do more in the way of it'd be nice if they had a CC program. I don't think that's going to happen. I just don't think that the parent company's putting those kind of resources in. But they do have drops set up. You can connect your Twitch account to Cryptic on the Arc website, and they set it up for Neverwinter. Mine's connected, but they've never done a drop for STO. They did one drop for Neverwinter. I don't know how that went or whatever, but the whole point is I play World of Warships and I play tanks, and I sit there and farm the drops all day long. And if I sit in front of that watching the game for 5-10 minutes, I'm like, oh, I'll log in and play a couple rounds. So I log in, I'm playing, I'm filling up matches, the game is more full, there's more things happening, the queue times go down, and those aren't even MMOs. So for MMOs, I mean, that's even more important to be able to drive people into the game, whether or not they're spending money or not, right? It's like a store. Getting people in the door is number one, right? Even if they didn't intend on buying anything, they walk around the store long enough, they might end up buying something or they might not, but that still creates a crowd in a store, and a crowd attracts a crowd. MMOs are massive multiplayers. We come here because there's lots of people in the game and we can interact if we want to. Maybe we don't want to, but there's still just people around, right? It makes everything feel alive. And I would like to see more of an emphasis on just driving that. And I know it's hard because, I run a business, and anything that I do or spend money on, I have to be able to have, metrics and KPIs that give me, an ROI on what it is that I'm doing or spending money on. But there are things that I do in my business where I can't do that. So I run radio ads, for instance. nobody is in their car writing down my phone number to call me later, right? It's a branding kind of a thing, something that when somebody comes to the internet and searches for the service that I provide, and I come up in the sea of, you know, all the other competitors that I have, there's something that clicks when they see my brand, my logo, and they say, I'm familiar with that. They might not even remember the radio ad, but there's a familiarity built with it, right? And so I don't have a way to quantify what radio ads is giving me in terms of return on my marketing, but I know it has an effect. And I can see that in the overall numbers when I go back and look at those things. Because somebody might actually end up calling me from Yelp, but they picked me in Yelp because they were familiar with my brand, right? And the same thing is true with, you know, MMOs, video games, and things like that. You want to drive people into the store, the game, because they're going to be more apt to spend money at some point, and it helps the overall game in general. The more people that are playing for free and farming things, you know, that's more stuff for sale on the exchange. I mean, I remember going New World again, and while I was in that basically empty server for a little while, I went over to the exchange. It's called something different there, and checked it out, and it was almost empty as well. I mean, it was dead. I did see a good turnaround with that with the expansion. I haven't played with it much after that. This isn't really about that, but the point is that driving people into the game just to do that, right, is hugely valuable. No one's going to buy anything if they're not even in the game. And so I think that, you know, if they were to do some little things like drops and stuff like that, and I mean, it could be for anything. I mean, it could be an X upgrade. It could be things that we already get. It doesn't even have to be super fancy. If it's free, I'm going to go farm it and watch the streams and most likely log in. Obviously, I'm going to log in because I play Star Trek Online, but other people that don't, you know, maybe they only play sometimes for events and stuff, they're going to be more apt to go and watch a stream, be able to get a drop, and they're going to log in to play with their drop and apply their drop or do whatever it is, right? And that keeps more and more people in the game. They're in the game, they're seeing a new ship, you know, out in or space dock area. Well, let me check that out. And they make a purchase, right? So there's a huge monetary value for these guys to do that. And my guess is the reason they don't is because they can't tie a direct ROI or a KPI, key point of interest, you know, to exactly, you know, what that generates them from doing that. That's my only guess, just based on, you know, hearing, you know, Kale talk. And again, Kale, he's the community, he's called the community manager, but he's really he's the PR person. He just delivers messaging. I don't know how much he's involved in discussions on what should happen, shouldn't happen, or any of those kinds of things. But anyways, that's my dead horse I'll beat for the day. Is I think drops would help a lot, just in general. Not just drive more people to the game, but the more people that are in the game, the more vibrant the game is, all the systems in the game, the economy in the game. And it would help also if there's always going to be a certain level of botting and things like that, right? But Star Trek is Star Trek Online is a pretty niche game. And so the community on it is not massive in comparison. And so a couple bots can have a massive effect on the overall status of the game and how well it does in the economy in the game. So I think it all kind of ties back together with that. So if you guys are watching this after the fact, I'll probably clip this up and do a video as well, because I think this is an interesting subject, and I like to get more of your guys' feedback. In video format, I read everybody's comments and respond or hearts. If I heart, that means I've read it, and you'll see I read pretty much all of them because I think it's interesting. So if you're watching this after the fact, definitely know what let me know what you guys think. As for chat, I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, I kind of went squirrel all over the place there, but number one, are you guys excited to see this happening on the Dilex? I mean, if you're someone that's ever even thought about using it, this should be a pretty positive thing in most of our minds to see this happening. And how do you think that, you know, this affects the game going forward if this continues to drop and stays low like this? Game's a lot faster. You mean just in terms of like playing through it goes faster? Boyd, you're excited about it. It's good. I think this is good. And again, I really wanted to go over this stuff like a few months or a month or so back when Spencer had first put it out. I'm glad I kind of waited so we can kind of see these results. And again, in all of Spencer's follow-up videos, he never takes credit, and I understand that, but I think it's important that we also recognize that. What you drinking, everyone? It's beer in London? Oh, it's not beer time for me yet. I'm drinking water. Might make it easier for free to play and people who don't want to spend a lot of money in the game. Yeah. That is true, Martin, right? I mean, there is kind of a flip side to that, is that there also has to be people that want to buy Dilithium, you know, and there's got to be a reason for it. And there is, but once you've played for a long time, I mean, I think I've bought Dilithium a couple times. Once was for the Vanity Shields. So I bought Zen, or I had some left over, I think it was, and I bought for that. So I think that's a good point. For this to stay healthy, both ends of that needs to be looked at. There needs to be a balance, right? There needs to be a reason for people to want to buy Dilithium. For newer players, or players that only played for a couple of years, maybe. I mean, there's a lot of things that take Dilithium, right? So if you're going to build a fleet or be involved in a fleet, I don't think that's probably as popular in terms of buying Dilithium, but all the stuff in the rep store takes Dilithium, although you do get quite a bit of that when you level it up. So I mean, really, it's Vanity Shields and it's Phoenix packs. I really think that the Phoenix packs is one of the main things that really broke this to start with. And like I said before, in the past, there was a Phoenix event every 6 months or maybe once a quarter. It kind of varied. And you could not get Phoenix packs other than during those events. So you'd get the free one a day, or you could buy them. And I'm telling you, I remember I saved up like almost 2 million Dilithium one time. And when that went live, I spent all of it on it because I wanted to stock up my upgrades, hoping for an epic, and there's other decent gear in there. And so I'd blow all of that. And I have friends that they would go and buy Dilithium with Zen just so they could stock up on that. That was a really good sync. But because it's available all the time, you can just continually just pick it up, and so it's not as big of a deal, because I would get the Dilithium, hold it, and then spend it all, right? So it wasn't going into the Dilithium exchange, at least for that. And then people that were grinding for Dilithium to get Zen, you would have people coming in and buying that Dilithium so they could get the Phoenix boxes. So I think that was huge. But it really comes down, and I keep going back and forth, is what is Cryptic's incentive for the Dil exchange to work well? And I don't know that I have a good answer for that. And I think that probably speaks to why it doesn't seem to be a big priority. Because just making, long-term players happy, that's not enough for them to take, big action to really make sure that these things stay balanced. Neutron C. So that I would use multiple characters. So I'd have multiple characters that I would grind Dilithium on, and a lot of it was just playing the game. Like we'd be running TFOs, doing team stuff, and I would spread that across multiple characters. And so you can grind out a lot of Dilithium really fast, especially if you have 3, 4, or 5 characters that you're doing that on. There's also little daily, kind of things that you can put together. In fact, I have a daily video that I had made a few years back that just, let's say I wasn't even like coming in to really play or do anything. I would just have these kind of daily tasks I would just do. They would take 20, 30 minutes, go across the account, max all that stuff out, do the refining. So you can start dividing that by quite a bit, depending on, obviously how many tunes that you have. You can generate a lot of Dilithium fairly quickly, without too much effort. I mean, you still have to be disciplined and log in daily and put in that 30, 40 hour, depending on how many characters you have. Cryptic let the ships sink because they make more money in the short time with the Dil X being broken. Yeah, and again, I kind of go back and forth, because like it's not like that Zen comes from nowhere, right? Somebody's still buying the Zen in order to trade it for Dilithium. It's just, as long as if there's a huge backlog, then there's always product for somebody that's buying Zen, which is what they want to to buy from, right? And so we're basically creating product for Cryptic for free in their game that they can then sell to people that have bought Zen from them is really what we're doing, right? And then we're able to take that and use it. So for us, we're worker bees for the game in order for them to sell Zen. So if it goes too far the other way and that starts to drop down, well, they can get a lot more. Let's say that it went down to 300, dilithium for 1 Zen. Now Cryptic is going to sell less Zen because you don't need as much Zen in order to buy, that same amount of dilithium. So I do think that they have an interest of that staying high in backlog, because from a monetary standpoint, there's no downside for them for that, right? In fact, it's better. There's a huge supply of a product that you have to pay Cryptic for the resource to buy that product, right? So, our benefit is being able to get that Zen and use it in game, but we're not actually creating the new Zen. The buyer is the one doing that and putting the money into the game. So if it went down lower, then I could see things happening to where they break it again. And again, breaking it is a bad term for this, because it's not broken. It's backlogged and it just takes forever. Nothing's not working though, right? So that's really the problem. So I don't know, guys. If you tie it to metrics and you tie it to, the monetization of the game and all these kinds of things, I don't see any reason for them to want to fix this other than goodwill. I hope that's enough, at some point, but it's been 2 years and it's taken Spencer to, expose this stuff and get it fixed. So I don't want to make this all negative, on them. I mean, this is an old game. It was developed in a different time, and we're lucky to be able to even have that available to us. A lot of other games don't have it. And we see very positive things happening to it, despite, whether they are or are not doing anything, about it. So, overall, what we're seeing right now with it is good, and it's heading into an even better, position for the people that want to be able to use this. I would just like to see that backlog. I just want it to go faster, because I get my monthly stipend, and sometimes I'll buy some Zen to buy a ship, but the increments they do it in, right, and this is on purpose, it's always off. So I always have to buy more than what I needed. And so it'd be nice to be able to just get that couple Zen difference by just making a quick exchange and not having to put, an extra $10 or $20 in when I only needed $5 worth or something like that. Bottleneck's what I'm thinking. Yeah. That's exactly what it is. I mean, it's bottleneck, backlog, that just increases the lead time, It's a supply chain issue on the supplier side. You got to remember, if you're somebody that is exchanging your dilithium for Zen, you're on the supplier side. You are not on the customer side. You're selling a product that you've mined in game to people that have spent real money on Zen to sell that to. So from Cryptic's standpoint, we're not the customer in that transaction, right? The person that bought the Zen is. If they make the dill sinks good, they won't, because people will buy Zen to buy. That's the thing, is that when you exchange dilithium for Zen, Cryptic isn't giving that to you. Somebody else that's paid real money is giving that to you. So Cryptic's winning there. And if they made the dill sinks good, then let's say, and I'm just going to make some stuff up. Let's just say they during the Phoenix event, they added I'm just gonna make this up, the sticks to it, right? And you could use 5 ultra rares, or let's make it a little crazier, 20 ultra rares. I don't want to tie it to epic, because I wouldn't do that because the drop rate's so low. But let's say it was 20 ultra rares and you could get a sticks for that character. I'd drop $30-$40 into that if I didn't already have one, because you can get those drops fairly often. For the ultra rare, 20 is not too crazy. People would drop money in, buy Zen, and then go buy the dilithium from other players. Cryptic wins because they're selling Zen, and there's a huge incentive, for people to do that, because you could get a sticks from it, right? So if they came up with dill sinks that, were enticing enough for people to go buy dilithium, Cryptic wants people to buy dilithium. They just don't care about the people selling it. That's the problem, right? Because in order to buy dilithium, you have to buy Zen. Cheaper Zen can benefit Cryptic also. Means if they are dill items that people want to buy with Zen, will cost them more Zen to get if dill rates are lower. That's true. So we could talk about this for hours. It's an interesting subject because this game is so layered in every different place that you look at it, and it's been around for so long and added to and adjusted, and there's all these different systems. I mean, there really is nothing else like this game. And I mean, and that's why I still play it after so long and after beating everything, because there's so much to it between the shipbuilding, the economy. There's people that just play the economy for fun. They literally just, buy, sell, trade, and things like that on the exchange because it is vibrant. There's so many different places for resources that translates into other systems and those kinds of things. So I really enjoy these subjects. And like I said, I've been itching to really kind of talk through this some with you guys for quite a while. And so I'm glad we were able to do that today. We're going to go ahead and leave it there. Like I said, if you want to talk about this more, use the comment section either on the stream. I'll also clip some of this up too for an individual video. Discord's always available as well because I think this stuff's really interesting. I think a lot of it's out of our control, which is kind of the frustrating part, with the exception of what, like I said, CasualSAB did here, which is, I think, pretty amazing and impactful for us. So, again, make sure you guys give him some love for that. Let's go ahead and do the giveaway. And let's bring Stowe back up. So we got some pretty background here with all of our event ships. Got a nice little fleet sitting here. All right, I'll give you guys a couple more seconds. If anyone's just coming in, there's a giveaway going, exclamation point raffle. This is for 100 million EC. You do need to be here to win. You'll need to say something, and preferably that something is, yes, I have Discord, or I use Twitter, something that we can use to communicate so I can do the verification and make sure you are who you say you are in game. And then we'll meet up probably a little bit later today after my Pokemon hunt, and we'll get together and I'll get you your 100 million. You have Discord? Excellent. All right, I'll give you guys a couple more seconds and then we'll go ahead and pull that. Man, my little different subject here. I have my wife's stream up. She's done now, but she's been streaming on TikTok. She streamed on Twitch for years, and 7-8 viewers constantly. She's really good. She's funny. This is her picture here. She's pretty, but just. She switched over to TikTok, and she's just getting crazy amounts of views and stuff. I mean, doing really, really good. Super proud of her. TikTok, I think, is probably going to be the future for some of this live streaming stuff, but it is gated big time. You have to have a certain amount of followers and views and all these other kinds of things, even to unlock going live. But she's definitely killing it over there. All right. We are going to go ahead and pull the giveaway. We're closing the entrances now. And we're going to pick a winner. In 3, 2, and 1. Is that Markter Chief? I'm butchering it. You guys are used to it. You are the winner. Are you here? Markter Chief. Or is that Chef? I'm terrible, guys. It's written on the screen. Are you here? If you're here, please say he's here. Awesome. Do you have Discord? Do you use Discord? I love this program because it pulls up the winners' comments. Let me know if you have Discord here before we get off. Otherwise, we'll need to make another arrangement because we'll need to be able to communicate after the fact. I have Discord. Awesome. Shoot me a DM, please. If you're not in the server, you don't have to be a part of the server, but I do recommend it. There's other giveaways in there. Just go into the server and you'll see me listed on, I think, the right side. And you just right click and do a private message. Just send me a message, say you're the winner, and then I'll get back with you here in a little bit and we'll just do the verification process. So congratulations on that. Don't forget, guys, before I go on the Pokemon hunt, I will make the giveaway for the Borg Juggernaut. So that'll be live a few moments after we're done with the stream here. So hit up the Discord server, go to the giveaways tab, and then make sure that you enter that. That'll probably run for about five or 6 days. Everybody's welcome to get in on it. That was donated by Martin. He is a rock star and spoils all of us with these ships all the time. The last 5 were from him. So a big thank you to Martin. I really appreciate you, and I know the community does as well. All right. Well, I think that's it, guys. It's Pokemon time. I'm pumped. Can you tell? All right, that's going to do it. Again, check out the Discord server. We'll have more videos coming out this week. And until next time, guys, stay safe. I appreciate you very much for being here and supporting me. You guys have a good rest of your weekend. Chrome Nuke, 07s, man, have a good one. Appreciate you. Martin, appreciate you, man. Have a good one. Dark Ghost, have a good rest of your weekend. Jason, have a good one. Voyager, thanks for being here, man. Dan, 07s. General Washington, have a good one. Rob, thank you very much for the resub. I appreciate you. Time Lord, have a good one, man. Oh, 07s, guys. Have a great rest of your weekend.